So people have been asking, what do I think the government is going to do to cut down on water use in the Colorado? I think we're going to find out real quick. And the answer might be nothing. Because eventually this will fix itself. The surplus water in the reservoirs will go down to the point where you won't be able to pull any more out. This is what's called Deadpool. No, not the comic character. It's where the water in the lake gets so low that you just really can't run it through the pipes anymore. I think it's unlikely that this will be allowed to happen, but it could. It could happen as soon as in the next year or so. But the real question is, who's going to be asked to cut back first? After all, the Colorado River Compact is a federal interstate treaty. The federal government can absolutely step in and tell people what to do. Enforcement might be a little tricky, but they can at least try. The Colorado Compact includes 7 states, and they fall into 2 categories, Upper Basin and Lower Basin. The dividing line is right here, at a place called Lee's Ferry, just downstream from Glen Canyon Dam. If you've ever taken Instagram pictures at Horseshoe Bend, it's just downstream of this. Everything touching the river above this point is considered Upper Basin, and everything below that point is considered Lower Basin. And the treaty pretends that the states can pull water out of the river without affecting the other basin. This, of course, is nonsense, but that's how the law is written. The Lower Basin states are Arizona, California, and Nevada, while the Upper Basin states are Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, and New Mexico. Now, if New Mexico seems like the odd guy out, there's a reason for that. The water in this state doesn't flow west towards the lower part of the Colorado, instead flows north to the foothills of the Rockies, and then west and south. All of this is going to get sorted out in court, and I am not a lawyer. I really have no idea how this is going to go. But I do know how human nature works. And a lot of times it's easier to go after a big target than a small one. So my prediction is that the big water users will be asked to reduce their take first. And they will probably start in reverse chronological order, meaning the people who've been using the water the longest will be safe. And the more recent diversions will be the first to be asked to cut back, which kind of goes in line with this idea of prior appropriation. So let's see how this might play out, starting with the users who are probably the safest. Clear at the top of the list of the safest would be the Imperial Valley. This is literally why the Colorado River was first developed. I don't see these users losing access to water anytime soon. In my opinion, the next safest would be the city of Las Vegas. Overall, Vegas is not that big of a user of the river, and their efficiency is actually pretty high. Not to mention that they have one of the most drought-proof ways of pulling water out of the lake. I think Las Vegas is pretty safe. But these next couple might be in a less certain position. The Colorado Aqueduct takes water from Lake Havasu to Southern California. This is one of the primary drinking water conveyances for Los Angeles, which means that it's also going to a lot of lawns and golf courses. It's a huge amount of water going to a region that also draws from several other sources. If anyone should be asked to go on a water diet, it should be Southern California. Next, we have the Central Arizona Project. This massive aqueduct takes water to the Phoenix area, supporting both drinking water and agriculture. Unfortunately, because this is one of the last diversions built on the river, it might have to be one of the first to cut back. Arizona was the last of the lower basin states to actually exercise their water rights, putting them very firmly in the category of use it or lose it, which means that they might be the first ones to be kicked out. In the upper basin, you have hundreds, if not thousands, of small diversions, making it much hard to measure and enforce, which is why you could see the upper basin states holding out a lot longer. But all of this is speculation. We have no idea how this is going to play out until it actually does. My theory is that everyone is holding their breath, hoping for a really wet winter that will render this whole thing moot, or really just kick the can down the road. Every year that goes by without taking action on the water plan just makes it more painful for the future. And one of these days, there's going to be a major canal or diversion that just has to go dry.